Hi, welcome to Radio Horror FM. My name is William, and I'll be the guide to your nighttime fears tonight. Tonight's story is not about something ancient, and it is not something that belongs to myths or legends. It is something modern, something that feels closer, something that could exist right now, in your world, in your home, in the quiet moments when no one else is around. It begins with something simple, something familiar, something you see every day without thinking, a face, a voice, a reflection, something human, or at least something that looks human. But what if it is? What if something else is trying to replace us? This is the story of the Mandela Catalogue. In this world, there are entities known as alternates. They do not arrive with noise or destruction. They do not announce themselves. They observe, they learn, and then they imitate. They study human behavior, human speech, human expressions, until they can replicate them almost perfectly. Almost. Because there is always something wrong, something subtle, something that feels off, a smile that lasts too long, eyes that do not blink at the right time, a voice that sounds correct but lacks something real. The most dangerous part is that you are not supposed to notice immediately, because the longer it takes for you to realize, the closer they get. They appear in places that should be safe, inside homes, in hallways, in bedrooms, watching from the dark, standing just outside the light, waiting for you to look at them. And once you do, once you truly see them, it is already too late. There are warnings, instructions, broadcasts meant to keep people safe, messages telling you what to do if you encounter one of them. Do not engage, do not speak, do not acknowledge their presence. But the problem is they do not always give you a choice. Sometimes they speak first, sometimes they call your name, sometimes they use the voice of someone you trust, someone you love. And when you hear that voice, when it sounds so real, so familiar, it becomes almost impossible to ignore. Imagine you are alone at night, your house quiet, every room dark except the one you are in. Your phone rings, an unknown number, you hesitate for a moment, but you answer. There is silence at first, and then a voice, soft, calm, calling your name. It sounds like someone you know, someone close to you, but something about it is wrong, something in the tone, something in the way the words are spoken. You ask who it is, but the voice does not answer directly. It repeats your name again, slower this time, as if learning how to say it properly. In some cases, people report seeing them before they hear them. Shapes in the distance, figures standing in doorways, faces appearing in places they should not be. A shadow in the corner of your room that seems darker than it should be. Something standing behind you when you look into a mirror. Something that disappears the moment you turn around. And every time, the same feeling that you are not alone, that something is studying you, trying to understand how to be you. There are records of people encountering these entities and experiencing something known as psychological collapse, a state where the mind can no longer process what it is seeing, what it is hearing, what it is understanding. Because the human brain is not prepared to face something that looks human but is not, something that speaks like a person but lacks everything that makes a person real. The result is fear, overwhelming, uncontrollable fear, the kind that does not go away, the kind that stays with you even after the entity is gone. Some believe that these alternates do not just replace people physically, but completely, taking their place in the world, living their lives, interacting with others, continuing as if nothing happened. And if that is true, then the question becomes much worse. How many of them are already here? How many people around you are not who they seem to be? There are also stories of emergency broadcasts, distorted messages warning the population, telling them not to trust what they see, not to trust what they hear, not even to trust their own thoughts. Because in some cases, the alternates do not just imitate externally, they influence internally, planting ideas, altering perception, making you question reality itself. When you can no longer trust your senses, when you can no longer trust your mind, there is nothing left to hold on to. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night, feeling something is wrong, the silence too complete, the darkness too still. You look toward your door and it is slightly open, even though you remember closing it. And in that small gap you see something, a face, barely visible, watching you unmoving, its features almost correct, but not quite. You freeze, unable to look away, unable to understand what you are seeing, and then it moves just slightly, enough for you to realize that it is aware of you, that it knows you are awake. Some encounters end quickly, others do not. Sometimes the entity stays, watching, waiting, letting the fear build, letting your mind do most of the work. Because fear is more powerful when it comes from within, when it grows naturally, when it becomes something you cannot control. And by the time you understand what is happening, by the time you accept that what you are seeing is real, it is already too late to escape. There is no clear origin, no confirmed explanation, only fragments, recordings, warnings, and the growing number of people who have experienced something they cannot explain. And the more these stories spread, the more people begin to notice small details, small inconsistencies, small moments where something feels wrong. A face that looks familiar but slightly different, a voice that sounds right but feels empty, a presence that should not be there but is. So the next time you are alone in your room, in your house, in a place that should be safe, pay attention to the silence, to the shadows, to the reflections that linger a second too long. Because if something is watching you, if something is learning from you, if something is preparing to take your place, you might not realize it until the moment it decides to show itself.